What is up, everybody? Time for another movie review for the month of October. Even though here in Minnesota it's snowing outside, so it certainly doesn't feel like it, but it is still October. So today we're going to be talking about The Fly from 1958, directed by Kurt Newman, starring Vincent Price, David Hedison, and Patricia Owens. Those last two you might not know, but I guarantee you know who Vincent Price is. So, what's the plot of the movie? Well, I'm just gonna read what I wrote down here, so if you'll excuse me, it's not off the top of my head, but here's what I wrote down. When a science experiment goes wrong, Al, the main character, finds himself mutated with a fly and he must find a way to revert to his old self with help from his brother and his wife. So I know a lot of people would probably instantly assume that it's some cheesy, 50s science fiction monster movie, like a lot of the movies of that era, which, I do love, but they're not for everybody. This is a very good movie. I think even modern audiences would be able to find enjoyment out of it. How do I start talking about The Fly? I mean, the title alone and the fact that it's from the 50s would make a lot of modern moviegoers probably just assume it's some cheesy B movie. But it's actually a lot smarter than people would probably give it credit for. Just from the opening of the movie, you know you're in for something good when the background is literally a fly swatter with the sound of a buzzing fly and this ominous music really just setting the tone of what you're getting yourself into. And please excuse that. It's holy shit of all the times to have this going on. Oh Lord. But just some of the other things I really love about this movie is right from the start, from the beginning of the movie, it starts pretty gruesome with, some guy with his head flattened inside of a giant pressing machine and there's blood all over the place and you're like, holy shit, this was made in 1958. I'm surprised that this was allowed. And you start, towards the end of the movie and then it rewinds back to the beginning. So it's probably one of the early instances of out of order storytelling, and it does it in a really good way because it starts with this big mystery. You're like, what the hell's going on? You now know how the movie's going to end, but you really do want to see what got up to that point, and it keeps you intrigued and it gives you these little details until finally you dive into the backstory. That's when the movie truly begins. You're introduced to the main character, Al, who's this, brilliant scientist. He's married to this beautiful woman. They have a kid together. They're so happy. Their marriage is great. And he's a genius on the brink of discovering, on the brink of discovering probably the most important scientific achievement that mankind could ever really want, or at least one of them. So let's just talk about the story a little bit and what makes it so good and so compelling. And I think there's two major reasons why it really works. The first reason is it's just extremely suspenseful and full of tension. After the scientist is fused together with the fly, the mission is to find that little fly in their big ass, mansion. The drive is already life or death. And there are so many frustrating close calls with catching this goddamn fly that you just want to go into the TV and help them out. You want to do something differently that would help catch this damn fly because, I had some ideas watching this movie and I'm like, why didn't they do that? And it's so frustrating to watch, but that's what makes it so compelling. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the inspiration from that Breaking Bad episode where they're trying to catch the fucking fly for an hour. Definitely they got their inspiration from this movie. I would be stunned if it was not. One of the other reasons the movie really works is the main character. He's a very sympathetic character. He doesn't deserve anything that's coming to him. But back in the day, at least in these 50s science fiction monster movies, there was always a theme of man meddling in things that they shouldn't be meddling in and being punished for it. dating all the way back to Frankenstein. That was a theme in science fiction movies. But in the 50s, they really drove it home. And my God, he gets punished in one of the most disturbing endings I've ever seen to a movie. But it's all the other little things that really make this movie that much greater. I mean, just from the set design to the sound design to the excellent acting from the entire cast. I mean, for 1958, once again, like, this does not feel like a cheesy B movie. These actors are taking it very seriously, and the writing is taken very seriously, and the overall production value is taken seriously. I mean, this was a film. These were people that were passionate about it, and these were people that wanted it to be good. Or at least I assume so. Maybe everyone fucking hated it and wanted to be done with it, but at least from what you see on screen, everyone seems to be taking it very seriously and wanting this to be good. I love the fact that there's also just little details, like in so many scenes you just hear a little fly buzz, but none of the characters mention it until they're looking for the flies, so it's almost like it's already setting that up. And we got to talk about Vincent Price and David Hedison. They do a great job in this. I've never seen David Hedison in anything else, but in this movie he absolutely kills it. Vincent Price is Vincent Price, so he's always going to kill it, but he totally has this worrisome energy to him. He's always so confused and wondering what's going on, but he plays it in such a good, wholesome way that he cares about what's going on. It's just the way he acts in this movie is just great. It's very believable. Anybody in this situation would probably act like he's acting. David Hedison, on the other hand, he's okay when he's a human, but once he becomes a fly and he has to act through pretty much just body language, he does a phenomenal job. There's some great scenes in this movie where you just feel the pain that this guy is going through and the frustration that he feels with one arm and no voice. It's honestly something that's just so magnetic. It's so, you're just drawn to his performance when he can't do anything else. He was elevated to another level. There is one really funny moment that I got a good kick out of. When the wife is telling Vincent Price's character that the husband has come up with some milestone, some giant breakthrough, Vincent Price asks if it's flat screen. I don't know. I just thought that was funny. Like, of all the things that you could think of, like, flat screen TVs are the thing that go to his mind, and I just thought that was really amusing. That's what his mind went to. It was flat screens. Yeah. So, in conclusion, it's a well-crafted, tragic love story with great pacing, writing, and acting. Truly ahead of its time, with fantastic production values and a timeless story about men meddling in things we shouldn't, with a truly twisted and dark ending. The Fly. If you haven't checked it out, or if you've only heard of the David Cronenberg version, which is also great, honestly, I prefer it to the Cronenberg version. So it's just definitely it's absolutely worth watching. It's so much smarter and so much more well written and acted than a lot of the movies from the 50s. And if you're worried, you don't like black and white movies or whatever, it's in color, so you don't got to worry about that either. It feels very modern. It feels very timeless. That's going to do it for this one, and I will see you guys next time with the next horror movie review. I'm out.